What's up, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of On the Bluff. I'm your host, Christian Fowler. Joining me, as always, my co-host, Gabe Kuhn, our producer, Kenny Stubblefield. Boys, how are we doing tonight?
I'm kicking it. I'm more interested in how you're doing.
Yeah,
days
that's
out from a wedding. That's the real
question.
question, brother.
Yeah, it is officially wedding week. We are 4 days away from getting married. I'm good. I've been a little bit busy this week, and Ruth's been quite busy this week. So it is a kind of a race to Friday to get to the rehearsal dinner, and then from there we'll have some fun. But for now, it's just like checklist. Make sure everything's done. Don't freak out. Don't stress out. Just get it.
Oh yeah, don't freak out. Don't stress out. You'll totally follow those rules. I promise.
Yeah, I'm sure. I haven't been stressed not one bit today. That's a lot.
All right.
Can we talk a little bit about what we talked about off air? Like what you guys have been working on? We don't have to give anything away, but just you're working on a specific routine right now?
I cannot comment.
Oh yeah. What are we talking about?
No
Kenny?
comment.
We don't give that stuff up. What are we
No
talking
comment.
about?
Oh, okay.
You're out of your mind. I'm more interested in the fact that last week we did learn. Was it your mom listens to the show, and when you were off a couple weeks ago, she heard that I called you sexually active? How about that one?
That did.
See, I think the listeners need to know about that.
That in fact did happen.
That was
It was a pretty funny exchange.
yeah. So Christian,
She said, "Did you listen to last week's show?" I was like, "No, I haven't listened to it yet."
She splashed him with holy water immediately.
She was like, "Did you know Gabe said you were sexually active on the show?" And I was like, "Oh God, why?"
Damn it, Gabe. Why? Why would you say? I don't know, man.
I was thinking Kenny immediately.
My brain works in very mysterious ways. I don't know how I got there, but
I was like 100% had to be Kenny. It wasn't Gabe. And she was like, no, it was definitely Gabe. And I was like, that is shocking. And then I went back and watched, and it was like completely unprompted. Gabe just threw it out there. And then Kenny was just kind of like, okay, moving on.
I was like, Christian, not a virgin. That's what I said.
But the fact that Kenny had to put out the fire tells you everything that you need to know.
Gabe was on
for sure.
That night. Yeah, I usually am the one that starts the fire, but I had to put that one out because I mean I've known you for a long time, and so like I just cannot believe we're here, dude. Like I cannot believe it.
It's wild.
We are here.
Crazy. Like it's wild. I'm happy for you and Anna Ruth, man. It's going to be a fun weekend. I'm glad Tracy and I get to be there and celebrate with you guys. It'll be fun.
Yeah, no, it'll be a lot of fun. I said it last week. I've said it 1,000 times, but like, just ready to get to it. I'm ready to get to Friday at noon, and I will be great. Like, as soon as we get to Friday at noon, I can get down to Oxford, get to the Airbnb, start getting ready for the rehearsal dinner. Like, then I'm going to be perfect. I'm going to be great once we
got a nice Airbnb?
Yeah. All the guys, we're all staying at an Airbnb Friday night, and then we'll hang out there Saturday until we go to the venue.
Yeah, tell those guys take it easy. I know you're friends. Tell them take it easy night before.
Do me and Gabe need to come run security for you on Friday night just to make sure?
I don't want to do that shit. I didn't offer that. I didn't offer that, Kenny. What are we doing?
If Gabe came and it was all the groomsmen at my house, do you think Gabe would be worse?
Problem.
Anything? Yeah. Gabe
would be worse.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. Gabe would only make the situation worse. He would not help the situation.
I would call Kenny in about 3 hours, drunk,
yeah.
Pitch him an idea.
Hey,
what to do with the network.
Yeah, that sounds more realistic than Gabe like keeping everything under control.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm what are you talking about, man? I'm a super respectful drunk.
He's
never step out, I'm very quiet. I'm a very reserved.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Drunk. Yeah. I don't like confrontation. Don't like talking to people.
No. Kind of keep to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I've noticed from you.
I'm sensing a whole lot
over the years.
Yeah. That's funny, man.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we made it through that part of the episode. So I won't be here next week. I'll be honeymooning next week. So in 2 weeks when I'm back, I will.
Where are y'all doing on your honeymoon, by the way? Tupelo?
St. Vincent. St. Vincent.
Branson.
Nice. Okay. Gotta love it.
Yeah. Yep. That'll be my first all-inclusive experience and my first out of the country experience. Never left the country. Yeah.
Okay. So you got your passport all taken care of?
Yep. Got the passport over the summer.
It'll be a good time, brother. It'll be a great time.
I'm excited. I've been looking at all the menus like, dang, I'm gonna get this, and this.
What kind of are you standing like sandals or something like that?
Yeah, it's the sandals.
Yeah.
I
went to the sandals and there's 3 in St. Lucia. I went to the one out there. It was the biggest one. So they had like 16 restaurants. God, I was in heaven, brother.
Yeah, this one's got 13. It's the newest sandals. I think it just opened like a year and a half ago. And St. Vincent is the island directly south of St. Lucia. So it's right beneath where you went. But yeah, next time I'm here in 2 weeks, I'll be married. But
that's crazy. Before
we get to that, we got stuff to talk about tonight. We talked about Charles Huff last week. We got to see his introductory press conference. Gabe, we talked about it earlier on your show. Winning the press conference is always good. I think Charles Huff did that. But is there anything that you guys heard that you really liked, or is there anything to take away from this, or is it kind of just, hey, it was a press conference?
I mean, it's a press conference in the end of the day. So I like all the shit he said, it's got to be applied, right. Like, but I thought he knocked it out of the park, brother. Like, I thought it was a great understanding of what he wants to bring. We're just going to have to see if he does bring it. I think what I like most is the self-awareness and understanding that he has of this job, not of any job in the G5, this job. He made multiple, references to, okay, we win a lot. We've done a lot of winning here, but the next is to win a championship. Otherwise, why are we here? And then I think my favorite thing that he said in his entire presser is, listen, you guys are not going to be happy with me. You guys will be angry with me if I win 8 games. That's not what the expectation is here. And listen, Ryan always made that clear in the sense that he would say it. He'd say the words, 8 wins isn't what we wanted to do. We wanted to make it to a championship. But you always felt as if he had this idea in his head that the fans weren't necessarily on his side. Right. I think Charles Huff is very understanding of, I better get to a championship or the fans shouldn't be on my side.
Right.
Which I respect that mindset because it shows he knows what he needs to get done, even in year 1.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think we talked about him being a program builder, right, at Marshall and Southern Miss. And Gabe, I think you said it perfectly last week that is not what Memphis needs. Memphis doesn't need him to build this program. They need him to elevate this program. And I think he hit the nail on the head with that. And basically, like you said, with the self-awareness to say, not that we're going to come in here and build something special. No, there's a great bedrock here, but it's got to be taken to the next level. The level that we want to be at Memphis has only been achieved once, but that's what we want to do. That conference championship season, that is the expectation of myself and this Memphis football program. And I think that shows a lot of self-awareness to go into the situation with that and not talk about building this thing up and making it something extremely special. It's like, no, this is a great place. It has been a very good football program for the last 10 years or so, but it needs to be taken to the next level. It was on that meteoric rise, and it's hit a plateau over the last 5 or 6 years, and it's time to flip this thing back in gear. So I think it's very self-aware to say that. Everyone could have probably assumed from the things around he was saying that, that's kind of what he's thinking. But for him to come out directly and say that, I think that's big. I think it shows that he knows exactly the job that needs to be done. But like you said, Gabe, now he has to do it. Press conference doesn't mean anything. You can win every press conference and be a terrible coach. So at least he understands. At least he's saying the right things. But now it has to be implemented. Now it's time for the important stuff. And
to be honest with you, guys that lose lately, the guys who lose press conferences usually are the better coaches. I don't think Kurt Signetti knocked it out of the park in his. Dan Campbell with the Lions, disaster.
By
You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter if you win or lose the press conference. It's about what are you doing to take those words, if you win it, and apply them to what your situation is. Now, I think the next step is to watch what he does in the portal, what he does in the next 30 days.
100%.
I'm so excited to see it because I think there's a lot of really good talent out there. And I want to see, especially what he does at the quarterback position. Is he able to retain A.J. Hill? Is he going to bring back Arrington Maiden, or is there somebody else out there that he has an eye on? And there's already reports out there that he's going to bring over a fair amount of guys from his Southern Miss team. 20 or so. So, you know, I feel like he could fill out this roster and we could have a pretty positive outlook here by Jan 14 when the portal closes. I'm excited to see that. That's the next step for me.
I think for me, the biggest surprise was less like you're going to get bravado type statements from coaches when they come in. There was a level of self-awareness, like you said, Gabe, that I really enjoyed seeing out of Charles Huff, you know, talking about, I'm used to taking over programs that are broken. I'm not taking over a program that's broken. It's about closing the gap at this point, which I think is self-aware and even the levels of impact that a successful football team at the University of Memphis can have on the city as a whole. That kind of stuff is great. What I was really interested in seeing was Charles Huff and his interactions, and then what Ed Scott would say, right? Because this is Ed Scott's first major hire in a revenue-generating program for the University of Memphis since he's been here. He's hired a volleyball coach, a softball coach, but now he's hired a football coach, and that's a different level. He even said it. Tim Buckley had an awesome article in the Daily Memphian today about the process, and he mentioned, and I think in one of the press conferences, that he told his wife, he said when he knew that he had to make this hire, he said, this hire, if I get it right, has the opportunity to transform the University of Memphis after we're already gone. After it'll change the trajectory even after we're gone, which I think is a really cool idea that he had that kind of, this is why this is so important. And I loved, I was so intrigued, almost at first put off by Ed Scott's confident arrogance in that introductory press conference. It was very clear Charles Huff was his guy. And no matter what anybody else said, boosters, whoever it was, the money folks, whoever it was, whatever anybody else said, Charles Huff was his guy, and he was standing on that. And it intrigues me. Like, I'm like, okay, I don't know anything about Charles Huff outside of what you guys have told me, but I'm really interested to see, like, why is he Ed Scott's guy, right?
Yeah.
Like, what is it about Charles Huff that sold Ed Scott on him being the next football coach at the University of Memphis?
Yeah.
And sidebar real quick, you talked about a relationship with Ed. I thought it was interesting so far. It's been interesting so far to see the relationship he's trying to build with Penny and Penny trying to build with him. Because, listen, not so subtle secret from the previous head coach, they weren't on the, like, I'm not saying they were mortal enemies, but they didn't really hang around each other all that often.
Yeah.
So, like, I like that part of it. It's more, it feels like a little bit more unity between the football and the basketball program.
Yeah. Last thing from me, I'll just hit on this real quick, and then we'll move on to Memphis, Louisville, which no one probably wants to hear about. But another thing that I noticed from Charles Huff, and this isn't really a measurable thing, right? Like, this isn't something that you can say, oh, he said this or he said that, but he just seemed to have quiet confidence isn't the right word. It's more of like a stern confidence.
Yes,
if that makes
for
sense.
sure.
Like, quiet confidence doesn't really encapsulate what I felt from him. It was like a stern confidence. Like, he didn't seem shaken up. He didn't seem like, oh, wow, I can't believe I'm here. Like, this is crazy, which you had a little bit of that from Ryan, but at the same time, to give him some grace there, that made sense. I mean, the position coach had been here, then getting to be the head coach, whatever. But for Charles Huff, it's not like, oh, wow, I can't believe I'm here. It's like, no. Win, dominate, recruit, develop. Like, he just seems very locked in, tunnel vision on, I know how to make this work, and I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And once again, that doesn't mean I mean, you can do that and fail, but there's just a demeanor that really successful coaches carry, and he seemed to have some of that in him. Like some of that.
For sure.
I don't really know who, like Dan Lanning's kind of a little bit more jokey, but Dan can get really direct to where it's just like, no, this is what we're going to do. And it kind of felt like a little bit of that from him. So I really appreciated just the way that he carried himself and the way that he spoke about things. He had that confidence.
I mean, he basically said he was the best hire of all of all the American Conference. He said, "I'm the best hire. Go look at the records of the other guys." And he basically said Brian Hartline could be great at South Florida, but he's 0-0 right now. I like that confidence, man. And I feel like it is hard. You can't call it quiet because he's not quiet.
Right.
Stern confidence. We'll go with that. I think I like that.
All right, let's go from a program that's got some confidence around it to a program that I don't think has much left around it. That's the University of Memphis basketball program. Played against Louisville this past week, 99-73.
Whew. And it wasn't that close.
No, it was never close.
Lead for Louisville at half.
So. Yeah, it never looked like Memphis had a chance in this game. I don't know, guys. I feel like we were pretty strong-handed last week talking about this team, and just we spent a lot of time basically saying like this team is gross. Like just to sum it all up and boil it down, it was just like this team is kind of.
I'm not co-signing that because some of these Memphis Tiger basketball fans,
they're going after you.
I'm public enemy number one for telling the truth.
Yeah,
and I sit back when I see some of the shit that gets sent to me, and I'm like, I'm right. I don't know why you're mad at me.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
We said it last week. Like, is there really anyone watching this team going, "Wow, that's a great product that they're putting on the floor"? No, it's ugly, it's clunky, it feels so. Everything feels difficult and forced. Like. I don't know. It does not feel like a.
I don't know about you guys, but besides Doug McDaniel night tonight watching this team, I don't know what I'm watching. I don't know who to look for.
Yeah.
It could be Quante Berry going off for 17, but Zach Davis had a good week last week. But Aaron Bradshaw, 17-7 against Baylor. Well, Julius Thedford and Curtis Gibbons when they get back. It's like I don't know what I'm supposed to count on besides Doug McDaniel.
No. I don't either. And I'm looking at it right now. How are they only 7.5-point dogs against Vanderbilt?
I don't know. And here's my biggest frustration. Penny Hardaway for the longest time, and he's done a really good job with it. He has been very good at coaching up defense, getting that identity, but getting some buy-in on that end of the floor. They don't have that this year. Offensively, they just don't really have that much. They can't really shoot. They were 3 for 11 against Louisville while allowing 18 for 35 on Louisville's side. My biggest frustration is this team genuinely has no identity right now.
None.
There's no givens, no non-negotiables. I don't know what I'm watching.
Yeah. Dude, they don't even have a starting five.
No, they don't.
True.
Let's just be frank about it. Like I said this on the Tigers on Tap show that came out today. Like at the very least, like Penny's talking about still, I think I figured out my 8-man rotation. Brother, you haven't figured out a starting 5 yet.
Yeah.
You started a guy 2 games ago in William Wharton who got a DNP coach's decision against Louisville.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay. It's not even that there's not an identity, it's that there's no clear pecking order whatsoever.
Yeah.
Outside of Doug McDaniel, who's going to play 30 plus minutes a game because literally he's the only guy on the team that can facilitate a semblance of an offense.
Yeah.
But then you're talking like, he's talking about 8 guys, and I'm like, well then, all right, you got Curtis Gibbons and Julius Thedford not playing. Like, who are the guys you're going to be like shifting out of the rotation right now that are playing right now that won't play when Julius and Curtis get back? Because you got to have Curtis play because he can handle the ball. You got to have Julius play because he's the only one that plays defense with a pulse. Like what are we like? I don't know, man. This Louisville loss honestly didn't do anything to me. Like if there's anybody that expected Memphis to like, it's not even that they expected.
The only thing it did for me though, Kenny, is like compared to last year, especially, it made me think about the price of the bag in the ACC and the Big 12 and the SEC and the power conferences, because that roster that Louisville has, it's not the same sport it felt like the other day. It doesn't feel like Penny Hardaway is recruiting in the same sport as Pat Kelsey right now. No, and I get it. Like, and that's where, like, listen, I get frustrated with the people that think Penny Hardaway is like above reproach, above criticism or something. He's done a good job for the most part here. He's like, 168 and 62. He's been a really successful coach from a wins and losses standpoint. Still in the tournament, you need more at Memphis. But here's the thing, like, if it wasn't Penny Hardaway and it was just some Joe Schmo coach, I don't think he'd be able to even field this type of roster. But either way, I think what we're realizing, especially in those games against Louisville or Vandy, whoever it is, price of the bag went up at those places, and they're raising the money to do it, raising the funds. At Memphis, it's about the same as it was last year. And with that money, it doesn't go as far as it did. Now, listen, that's my only insulation I'll give to Penny Hardaway in this, because the truth of the matter is the allocated funds that he chose to spend and who he chose to spend it on is the problem with this team. It is the problem with this team. Aaron Bradshaw's a no-show. And like that, to me, gets to the root of the issue, root of the problem. Doug McDaniel can give you about, 70, 75% of what PJ gave you. But what's the percentage Aaron is giving you of what Dane did last year? Maybe 5% less. That's the problem. It's about, for me, looking at how this team has been built, it's about how the funds were allocated and when these guys got on campus. Yeah. It's just been disorganized this year, and it just seems pretty obvious to me when I watch this team.
Yeah, I agree, and I think you're right as far as funds and just the difference, and we know the difference between Memphis and some of those high-level schools, but it's not like there aren't mid-major teams around the country that are going to be really successful this year and make the tournament and make runs in the tournament. So it is an excuse, at least somewhat in the non-conference, because you are going against those teams. And I would feel a little bit better if I could see, kind of to Kenny's point, like a direction. If I could look and watch this team and go,
that's where this all ends. That's what he's going for.
This isn't the finished product, but I can see what the vision for the finished product is. If there was a light at the end of the tunnel to say, okay, I understand how this thing is trying to be put together, it just needs some time to flesh itself out. But when I watch them personally, I don't see that. Like, I don't see a team that has vision and direction and that everybody has bought into their role, and you have guys that are busting it on defense and guys that are averaging 17, 18 on offense that are leading that side of the ball. Like, I just see a collection.
It's a hodgepodge of random dudes.
A collection of basketball players that do, like, the puzzle does not fit. It is a square peg and a round hole, just like the 2023 team. We said it probably 100 times once they got into conference play, that there is no rhyme or reason. These puzzle pieces do not fit together, and they were never going to fit together. And that just feels like this. And we talked about it on the show earlier today, Gabe. Like, this style of recruiting is such a high variance style of recruiting. When you change your entire roster every year, and you don't get these guys in person, and you don't know their practice habits, and you don't know their weight room habits, and you don't know the way they interact with their teammates on a personal level, and just on the floor level, even if you talk to them, have conversations with them, do your background, which you don't have a lot of time to do anyway because you're competing with other schools. When you don't have all those factors, it's a crapshoot. Like, yes, it's not a full-on guess. It is an educated guess, though, because you just don't know.
Yeah.
You do not know what all that baggage that player brings with you, what all they have, and how they're going to react once they're around 15 new players that they've never been around before.
Yep.
So when you look at this style that Penny has used for several years now, there are peaks and valleys, boys, and it feels like we are back in a valley. Last year was a peak. Kendrick Davis, DeAndre Williams was a peak. 2023 with Javon Quinterly and that squad was a valley. Like, it all just depends on how it works. If those pieces don't fit together and you don't have defined roles, I swear we've used that word probably 5,000 times in the 3 years of this podcast, talking about this team, Memphis basketball. But if all the puzzle pieces don't fit, then it's never going to work. And it feels like, at least right now, 9 games in, early in the season, we're at another season where the pieces do not fit. And that there does not seem to be a light at the end of the tunnel where, man, when they get into conference play, they're going to be rolling and they should be favored to win it. Like, I don't have that feeling right now.
I'll say this. I think Julius Thedford and Curtis Givens III, if you're wanting to root for something, get them back healthy. Then I think you have a legit 2 rotation players that can give you 15 to 25 minutes a night, 30 minutes for Julius Thedford when he's on. So, like,
right.
I think that's what you hope for in the meantime, because I think those are real basketball players that can give you real minutes. Not necessarily every time out, but, you know, you can trust them about as much as anybody else on this roster. But yeah, it's tough for me. I feel like I shouldn't even speak anymore because it's just going to be held against me. I'm going to go further down my rabbit hole of being Memphis basketball hater when y'all both know that's not even close to the truth. I just speak on what my eyes tell me and what all the context and reporting tells me. And it just seems like you had to replace 15 new guys. It's a rush job, and it's a bunch of random pieces. The front court wasn't filled out. Tried to fill it out late with some random bodies. Those random bodies can't give you enough good minutes. So you have an incomplete team and an incomplete system that I don't really see the pieces to actually, like you're getting at. I just don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I don't see the pieces that are going to get them to gel, the pieces that are going to get them back to an NCAA tournament. I just don't see it right now.
Do you think that Penny has talked about this multiple times in the offseason coming into the season, that he's got enough guys on this team that have eligibility to come back and come back next year? It definitely feels like what you guys are talking about in terms of his recruiting style, the high variance recruiting style, that Penny recognizes that changing over an entire roster every single year is not something that's sustainable.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering, like, if there's a part of him that's like, you know what, like, I'm going to continue to coach these dudes up with the hope that with the stated goal that some of these guys will come back and play for me, keep playing for me year over, like, for the amount of time that they have left. And we're going to make the best out of this year as we possibly can. But really, it felt like this was kind of, in some ways, a reset year for, I've got to change up how I'm doing things. Am I reading too much into what he said? Or do you think that the way that he's recruited in such a way that it doesn't make a whole lot of sense right now? But by the end of the year, these guys will have learned to have played together, and they'll have the opportunity to come back and play again.
Yeah, but if they're too good, they're gone. Like,
or if they're not, we've seen guys that are just regular here and are decent role players leave anyway. So, like, Kenny, I meant to say Kenny.
Old Penny over here.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but how am I supposed to buy into that idea that that's what he was thinking when putting together this roster when I have not seen any proof of concept previously, when he's had guys that could have stayed and then left?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's my problem with that line of thinking, because my assumption would be if you're replacing 15 new guys, you're going to go get the most winning possible, put together the most winning possible roster. And I like the idea of Julius Thedford coming back and Curtis Givens coming back, but get them to come back.
We got
been Nick Jourdain the past 3 years. That's been a holdover. That's one guy. So
I'll say this.
Not that, again, not trying to be negative. I'm telling facts. These are facts. We've been through 3 seasons here, and the only holdover from the last 3 seasons is one guy in Nick Jourdain.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, you can say he's trying to build it for the long term, but
we got to see it first.
When have we seen anyone stay?
Right.
Hey, real quick update. Trey's in the comment section. Louisville was 4 for 18 from 3 and down 11 to a Tennessee team that hasn't won a game since before Thanksgiving.
Great.
Why couldn't they have done this when they were playing against 18 of 35, bro?
You want me to answer, don't you?
I don't. I don't.
Okay,
I don't because I don't want you. I don't want your
because brother, you know the answer to that. Why couldn't they have done this? Close out on the damn 3-point line. Play better defense. That's why. Tennessee is a defensive juggernaut, as much as I don't like them.
Yeah. All right, boys. Well, let's take a quick break. We'll be back on the other side with Hot 3. We'll talk some college football, some NFL after the break.
In the heart of the Highland Strip for 27 years, Trilogy Tattoo has helped tell stories for Memphians for generations. Located at 530 South Highland, Richie and his team are waiting to help you tell yours.
From tattoos to piercings, your body art should be as unique as you are. Voted a Memphis Flyer top 3 tattoo shop in the city of Memphis since day one. Your story will be safe here at Trilogy Tattoo.
Open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday, 11 to 11, and 3 to 11 on Sundays. They have convenient times waiting on you. Let Trilogy Tattoo help you tell your story.
Are the leaders in field goal attempts per game when the guy is touching the ball more than 6 seconds. Luka Doncic, Kenny Stubbsfield, does this 12.1 times per game. His true shooting percentage is 53.3%. SGA, 11 times a game, 59%. Ja Morant does this 6.5 times a game, where he has the ball more than 25% of the shot clock, right? His effective field goal percentage is at 32.7, which is leaps and bounds worse than anybody else that's even in this top 10, right? Ja has to do way better than bro. Like you can't have possessions where you're killing the shot clock, where you're saying, okay, fuck the play, I'm the play, and that's what you're coming out with, right? Because if you got the ball that long, bro, you're saying fuck the play, I'm the play, and I'm not mad at you doing that. That is absolutely crazy. And Ja has to find better ways to score.
Tune in to the Anthony Saint Show Monday through Fridays at 1 p.m. live on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel. In Memphis, we know a thing or two about resilience. From the grindhouse to the Delta, we protect what's ours. But when pests invade your home, it's time to fight back. Grade A Pest knows how to handle what crawls, flies, and bites. With local experience and guaranteed results.
I'm Reggie with Grade A Pest Control. We service the Memphis metro area. That also includes DeSoto and Fayette County as well.
Grade A Pest has the entire Mid-South covered. So if bugs and pests put you to the test, let Grade A solve your problem. All right, boys, we are back with the Hot 3. We got the hottest sports stories in the nation. Trying to turn this music down. The hottest sports stories in the nation. And I think the presumptive favorite at the beginning of the year for the Heisman Trophy, Fernando Mendoza from Indiana, won the Heisman, boys. What are y'all's thoughts? Was it the most underwhelming Heisman?
Oh, it's a lame-ass year of the Heisman. We don't have to hide that, brother. The guy, he barely threw for 3,000 yards. He threw for 2,900 in the regular season. Now, you made a good point today on the show, Christian, with the new clock changes, rule changes, and the clock rolling more than it normally has in the past. The numbers may have to just creep down at least a little bit. But Drew Mestemaker threw for 4,129 yards. This guy threw for 2,900 in the same amount of games.
Yeah.
It's just hard for me to really take it that seriously. I really love Fernando Mendoza though. I think this award this year became more about leadership and winning than actually being a statistical nightmare, like a Jaden Daniels or a Johnny Manziel back in the day, or a Ashton Genty and Travis Hunter from last year. It was just a winning leadership award.
Yeah, the best player on the best team in the country.
Yeah,
which we've seen that happen at times, but the stats
usually that guy has more counting stats, right?
Yeah, definitely. But this is weird. This is a weird Heisman race because it really became the hero versus the villain, like more than any that I can remember. And I think Fernando Mendoza was extremely deserving of it. I think he played very well all year. I think he had great command of that offense. You think about that Indiana team last year, and they were really good. But Curtis O'Rourke, I mean, he left a lot to be desired. He was a solid at his ceiling was a solid collegiate quarterback. Fernando Mendoza is a legit elite college quarterback. Should be the first quarterback off the board in the draft for 2026. Made a lot of big time plays, a lot of big throws, even though the stats weren't just outrageous. But yeah, the story didn't really become Fernando Mendoza. It became him versus Diego Pavia. And I don't think we talked about it on the podcast last week, but me and Gabe talked about it on his show. I was 0% a fan of Diego Pavia. He had rubbed me the wrong way. I thought he was just being over exploitative with hitting the Heisman pose 8 times, and just some of his antics seemed so disingenuous and so look at me that I was beyond not a fan. And I was a fan last year. I thought he was fun to watch last year. The story was incredible coming from New Mexico State, taking that Vandy team to a very successful season, and then topping that this year. And not only from a team perspective, but from an individual perspective, had so many people on his side, and then just started alienating everyone left and right. And to do the F all the voters on an Instagram post is just crazy, because a lot of these people voted for you. I mean, he had a decent amount of first place votes and a lot of second place votes. So a lot of these people really respected what you did on the field last year. And then to be at a club in New York and have the bottle service sign say F Indiana is just so tasteless.
Basically, you're saying F Fernando Mendoza. And
it's like
to say F that guy. That's
and,
not the one to pick.
And the fact that you do that after you meet the guy and you've been around the guy all weekend, and you hear how he talks during his acceptance speech and talking about his mom who has MS and is in a wheelchair, that is so tasteless, dude.
Of course it is.
He sucks. He sucks. As a human being, he sucks.
I don't think there's any doubt, and I think his whole family kind of sucks, unfortunately.
Yeah, his brother was arrested 47 times this year. I've seen videos of it.
His mom. Never mind. I'm not going to get into it.
They did that whole thing with Theo Vaughn. Yeah,
Theo Vaughn. Oh God.
Yeah,
that wasn't. He wants to date with Peyton McRae. It's the weirdest shit ever.
That wasn't.
But I don't think he realizes right now how stupid the decision he made over the weekend was. I don't think he gets it.
No, he doesn't.
Listen, Diego Pavia is good enough to at least get a look from an NFL franchise that wants to bring him in to try out.
Yeah.
Or maybe somebody was, in my opinion, ridiculous enough to pick him in the 7th round or something like that because of how good he was, how much he lifted Vandy's viability, right? They were right on the outside looking in at the CFP. But I can tell you right now, every NFL scout's looking at that no, fuck this guy. We're not bringing him in.
Yeah.
He wants it to be about him. He thinks that he's good enough to, he thinks he's better than everybody. And he'd be a distraction. So I don't think he realizes it now, but he fucked up. He really he screwed the pooch on that one, and he has no one to blame but himself.
Yeah, I could not agree more with that sentiment. Like you said, did he have the talent to be an NFL quarterback? No. But could he went somewhere as a super late round draft pick or as
people like winners, man?
Yeah,
people like winners.
Yeah. Could he have went and potentially made a roster as a 2nd or 3rd quarterback? Maybe. Who's to say? But there are a lot of prereqs for backup quarterbacks, and arguably one of the big. I mean, number one, obviously you have to be talented, but past that, it's be in the background, don't draw any attention, go to work every day and do the things that you're supposed
Basically,
to do.
don't be an asshole. I think that's that sums it up.
In less words, yes.
Yeah.
And no one wants a distraction at backup quarterback. And I used this example earlier, like Shedeur Sanders, because organizations understood what they were doing when they drafted him. He fell to the 5th round. He was more talented than a 5th round pick, but at a certain point, it was like, do we want our backup quarterback being the biggest star on the team and everybody wants him for all the media availabilities? Cameras are always following him. Absolutely not. We don't want that. And Shedeur Sanders is 10 times more talented.
Yeah, he's more physically talented
as an NFL prospect than Diego Pavia could ever dream of. So if he slipped to the 5th round, what do you think is going to happen to you, dude? Like, you've been a complete and total douchebag in this last 2 months.
That man's gonna be playing football in Germany, dog.
Yeah, dude.
He's gonna be playing football in Japan or some shit. I mean,
I was overly done.
CFL might not even want him after that.
I was overly done with him last week. Like I put all my feelings out there on
and you got confirmed, didn't you?
And then
your biases got confirmed.
Yeah, it just got even worse this weekend because it's like you can play that moniker, right? Like you can create that character, you can create that alter ego for attention and for all those things. But at the end of the day, like when you show your true colors, like if he would have been like, shout out to Fernando Mendoza, he had an incredible season, he deserved this, like, and given him his flowers and been a decent human being, part of you probably would have looked back and said, okay, how much of this is a facade and how much of this is actually him? But after what he did this weekend, you go, oh, that's just you. Like you're just a douchebag. Like that's all there is to it. You hitting the Heisman pose 8 times wasn't you trying to garner
practicing kneel downs, brother.
Yeah,
before the Alabama game, practicing his kneel down celebration.
It was just genuinely you are a D-bag, and that's all there is to it.
Can I deliver a quick message, Diego Pavia, though, real quick before we move on? Diego, I listen. I hope you're doing well. Don't really appreciate what you did over the weekend, but here's my message. You're not Johnny Manziel. Yep. And you're never going to be Johnny Manziel.
Not even close.
That's it. That's the message. You're just not. Yeah, and you can't force us to look at you through that lens because guess what? Johnny made us look through that lens at him because of his play on the field.
Yeah.
And who he was in the money sign, like one, I don't think there's ever going to be another Johnny football. But 2, you can't force us to make you into another Johnny football. Right. You have to go earn that. And I don't think you've done enough.
And let's not forget, this isn't a 19 or 20-year-old. This is a 23-year-old that'll be 24 in February.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's not young and you don't make mistakes at that age because we've all been there, done that. Like we understand that's still young, but you're supposed to be one of the older veteran guys on the team. Like not acting like a red shirt freshman like Johnny Manziel was like 19 years old when all this was going down.
Honestly, though, I was thinking about this. What do you think if he would have won that award, what do you think his damn speech would have sounded like? Because what also the messaging after, like the F all the voters and all that, it's all about him.
Oh, yeah.
Him being considered for that award was not about his team and what they did to help him. It was about him.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you hear last thing? And then we can move on to college football playoff. They asked like all the guys what they would do with the Heisman. This is another compare and contrast between Diego and Fernando. They asked Fernando what he would do. And he was like, if I win the Heisman, I want it to be in Bloomington. Like I want it to be displayed at the university and let everybody that comes through there know, like, you can come to Indiana and be the number 1 team in the country and win a Heisman and all these inspirational things, which he didn't know that they do give the school one. So he's like, oh yeah, well then I'll keep mine that they give me. But Diego Pavia said he would put it in Theo Von's podcast studio behind Theo Von so people could see it every time they watch Theo Von. So if that doesn't really kind of show you the difference between the fellas we're talking about, I don't really know what does. But Kenny, we can move on.
Putting the Heisman in a podcast studio.
Hey, I'll be honest. If he wants to put it in Bluff City Media,
why not?
Send it to Christian, and Christian can put it behind him. That'd be
well. Luckily, he doesn't have one.
Yeah, luckily
he
can only go buy one off Amazon. That's
There you
all
go.
we can do at this point.
We just spent about 20 minutes talking about Vanderbilt and Diego Pavia, and they don't have any more games left. So let's talk about who teams that actually are about to start playing, boys. It's the first week of the college football matchups. We got James Madison versus Oregon, Miami versus Texas A&M, Tulane versus Ole Miss, and Alabama versus Oklahoma. Friday night, while Christian is having his rehearsal dinner, James Madison will be taking on Oregon. Oregon's minus 21.5 point favorites. 11 a.m. on Saturday while Christian's getting dressed, Miami versus Texas A&M, minus 3.5 Texas A&M. Ole Miss versus Tulane in the same damn city. Christian's getting married.
Yep.
On Saturday, Ole Miss will be facing off against Tulane. They are 17.5 point favorites against Tulane. And then, to me, the game of the week, Alabama versus Oklahoma.
Yeah.
-1. The only game that is actual a road team is the favorite. Alabama -1.5 in that game. How excited are we that the first round of college football playoffs is here, boys?
Yeah, I hope it's better than last year's first round. I don't know how high my hopes are for that. But I will say I'm with you, Kenny. Alabama, Oklahoma. I think if I had to watch one of these games, it would be that game. I know Oklahoma's not like a long tenured SEC team, but this game really could feel like an old school, early 2000s, late 90s SEC championship type of game. You got two really good defenses. I think Oklahoma's is definitely better than Alabama's. Oklahoma's offense has been up and down. Alabama's got, Ty Simpson and Jeremy Bernard and some weapons offensively. But I think it could be, one of those really tight, hard-hitting. We saw how physical that Alabama-Georgia game was in the SEC championship game last week. I think this game will feel similar to that. So I think that'll be a great game. But also, I don't think enough people are talking about Miami and A&M.
Yeah.
And sure. I think that's because A&M was so good throughout the year, and a lot of people are discounting Miami because they didn't have a great second half to the season. But that's still an extremely talented team with a quarterback that's been in this spot before, love him or hate him. Like, he's been in these big games plenty of times before. Marcel Reed has not at Texas A&M. And I don't think Texas A&M was a full-on fraud this year, but I don't think they were as good as their record indicated them to be. They played one team inside the top 8 of the SEC standings. That team was Texas, and Texas handled them pretty well at the end of the season. So I think A&M's a really good team. I'm not discounting that, but I think their record they weren't as good as their record indicated. I don't think they were an 11-1 team. I still think they're solid. Don't think they're like a top 3 to 5 team in the country. So I think that'll be a highly competitive game. Could be a high scoring game with Carson Beck and Marcel Reed going back and forth, but I think that one's being a little slept on as the early game on Saturday.
That's my favorite game of the weekend. Yeah. To hell with Alabama, Oklahoma. I think those. To be honest with you, I don't like either of those teams more than A&M. At peak A&M,
no,
A&M is one of the best teams in the SEC.
I agree.
Now,
with that.
lower tier A&M is what you saw first half against South Carolina a couple weeks ago, right? But then the second half is peak A&M. I just like them because, offensively, I think they're slept on, weirdly enough. I really do.
They're dynamic.
Marcel Reed's a very good quarterback. He can be erratic at times. The offensive line's good enough. They have a decent enough run game, but they're wide receivers.
Yeah.
No one talks about their wide receiver room. Mario Craver and Casey Concepcion are some dogs,
great.
Man. They're some absolute dogs.
Outside of Ohio State, arguably the best receiver.
They're wide receiver ones is what they are. That's what they are for, if they were on different teams. So I like A&M a whole lot, and I think defensively Mike Elko always has a really solid group. But Oklahoma and Alabama, I just think both of those teams down the stretch of the season looked very average.
Yeah,
don't you?
Yeah, I agree.
Alabama against Georgia did not give me any hope for them making a run in the college football playoff at all. That was an ass kicking, a complete ass kicking. And Oklahoma, after the first 3 weeks of the year or 4 weeks of the year when John Mateer got his thumb hurt, he hasn't been the same player, and their offense hasn't been the same. So I think this is going to sound crazy to some. I think both the teams playing in that Friday night game are less complete teams than Texas A&M. That's what I think.
I agree with that. I don't have any argument to that at all. I think on their best day, we saw Alabama beat Georgia. So
Sure.
they can be a really
Although
good
that second half, like it kind of carried over to that second game, didn't it?
Right. I agree. So they can be, but we haven't seen that consistently enough to say that they're a legitimate national championship contender. And I'm with you on Oklahoma. Like, I think the defense is national championship level.
Great
The defense is absolutely national championship level. The offense, that's the one caveat to this, right? The offense, but they just had 2 weeks to try to figure it out. And I think that Ben Arbuckle's a really good offense coordinator. I think John Mateer is a really good quarterback. If they found something, which is highly unlikely just because it's been a whole season, but if John Mateer truly wasn't healthy still and they figured something out over these last 2 weeks, Oklahoma could surprise people. Like if they were to come out, Gabe, let me ask you this. If they were to come out and win this game like 45-17, would you take Oklahoma a little bit more serious and go?
Yes, if their offense showed that type of explosion,
so,
for sure.
Not the likeliest outcome, but it's at least a possibility if a team like Oklahoma had even a kind of
because their defense is almost good for a score a game. That's the way it was down the stretch of the year.
Yeah. If they had an above average offense, they are a contender because that defense is fast and physical and aggressive, and it looks a lot like those Clemson defenses did, which is not any irony or coincidence there because Brent Venables was the defensive coordinator of those Clemson teams and he's Oklahoma's head coach. So they look like them, fast, physical, flying around.
Who do you give more of a shot to in the G5 games?
Let me ask this question. Because I was going to ask this very question. Obviously, you have JMU and Oregon minus 21.5 point favorite for Oregon. You have Tulane and Ole Miss minus 17.5. The thing is we already know like Ole Miss and Tulane have played each other. Ole Miss beat them 45-10. We already know, but Tulane's a different team now, right? Like they're a different team. Jake Retzlaff has played a lot better since the beginning part of this season. I have a question so y'all have seen what Lane Kiffin's doing right now, right? With the Ole Miss team. Yeah. And like texting media in Ole Miss basically saying, oh, are you calling Trinidad a hoe now too? Stuff like that. It is unbelievable. Is there any chance that Ole Miss and its players are going to be distracted?
This is where I wanted to go with this. If you ask me the question, like which G5 game do you think is more likely to end in an upset, which very unlikely in both. Want to be clear about that.
Yeah.
I know that Ole Miss beat them 45-10 at home, and they're going there again, Tulane is. I would pick Tulane to potentially cover and make it a game just because
there's a lot going on.
Lane Kiffin, Trinidad Chambliss today, when he spoke on where he'd be next year, he's like, well, that's something I have to talk with my family about.
Right.
It's like, well, where's your mind right now? The portal's going to open. If you beat Tulane, portal will open by the time you play your second round game. So it's going to be interesting to watch. And I think there's a lot of distractions with Ole Miss right now. A lot. Too many.
There's a part of me, I still firmly am planting my flag on that Ole Miss will win this game.
Yes.
But I'm just saying.
The door's a little open.
Weirder things have happened.
Yeah. And listen, I'm going to be cheering as hard as possible for JMU and for Tulane so I can get Paul Feinbaum to shut his mouth.
Yeah.
And Joel Klatt, by the way. Did you hear what Joel Klatt said?
Yeah, I did.
Today?
Yeah.
He said the NCAA basketball tournament is one of the biggest jokes in sports. Because he was trying to advocate for G5 teams to be left out of the CFP. We don't want Cinderellas. So that's what he said. It's like, oh, really? Yeah, we don't.
Who is Joel Klatt? That dumbass. What's he talking?
I hate it because I used to be a Colorado fan, and he was the quarterback. He was the last quarterback for Gary Barnett at Colorado, and he was decent. He was solid. Although they started the season 6-0, ended up 7-5. Trash ass. But I find that I'm going to be rooting on the G5 teams.
Let's go.
Crazy. I hope y'all join me.
Christian, I know you're sad. It's been a tough weekend for you guys and your Kansas City Chiefs. Listen, obviously lost the game, so they're out of playoff contention. And with 2 minutes left in the game, Patrick Mahomes tears his ACL. Brother, like, number one, is the dynasty over for them? And number two, like, what does this tell you about? I don't even know how to ask the question. Is Patrick going to be able to be like get it back to where he was before?
Yeah, without a shadow. I mean, it's an ACL. We've seen so many players come back.
MCL too, by the way. But same idea.
Yeah, we've seen so many players come back for this. I mean, quarterbacks, yes, but even a lot, probably 60 or 70% of skill position players in the league have torn a ligament in their knee. That's probably aggressive. Obviously, that's being hyperbolic, but a lot of really good players that remain really good have torn ACLs, MCLs, LCLs, all that stuff. So I think he'll definitely return to form. Is the dynasty dead? I think that's a very interesting question. And I want to say no, because I like everybody that listens to this show knows I am a massive Patrick Mahomes fan. But they're at that fork in the road, and we saw this with New England, which is our most recent dynasty to go off of, right? We saw a little bit of a fork in the road where Brady got hurt. They had some years that the offense didn't quite look the same after Josh McDaniels left and went to Denver. And it was like, is it dead or does it need to be retooled? And let's think of that early dynasty of the Patriots, Vrabel, Brewski, Rodney Harrison, Ty Law, all those guys. Those guys had to leave and be pushed out. Willie McGinnis, all these guys got old and they weren't the same anymore. And they had to completely revamp and retool. And they brought in the new wave of guys and they did it again. And then those guys left and they brought in a new wave of guys and they did it again. That doesn't happen. Like, dynasties don't last for 20 years like that one did. If Kansas City is going to be the next dynasty that does that, they are at that fork in the road moment where all these decisions determine whether you can have that Dynasty 2.0 thing, or if that section of the Chiefs is done and it becomes maybe they'll win one more Super Bowl in Patrick Mahomes' career or something like that. They need a facelift desperately. When you look
I
at
will remember you. You will remember.
You're saying it's over?
It's over, dude. It's over. Listen, unless you think Patrick Mahomes is Tom Brady. Unless you think Patrick Mahomes is Tom Brady, but no one's been able to do that.
Christian does.
You usually win your 2 or 3 championships in a 6-7 year period, and then you are fine for the rest of your career, but you don't necessarily have that team success. Yeah. That's usually how it works out. So I'm going to go with historically the most likely outcome.
That's the odds. Yeah, the odds say that.
I still think they'll be a solid team, but like you have to use context clues too, right?
Yeah.
Where Travis Kelce's about done. Andy Reid's getting up there in age. Chris Jones is about done.
Yeah.
They
desperately need an injection of youth, a facelift. There is the bones are still good. The foundation's still solid. When you look at Trey Smith, Creed Humphrey, they've drafted some tackles over the last couple of years that seem to be okay. You got Patrick Mahomes, Rashee Rice is solid. Like, they've got good building blocks, but their cornerstones is what they're about to lose outside of Patrick Mahomes. And so that becomes the question. How do you replace Chris Jones and Travis Kelce that were, it was obviously Patrick Mahomes number 1, but those guys were 2 and 3 on all these Super Bowl teams.
It was such a weird year for the Chiefs, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was. Such a weird year. Started off ugly. Everybody knew they'd get it back in it. They got back in the fight for a little bit, but then started losing an inexplicable game. What bothered me the whole year is I think that Patrick Mahomes actually caught some criticism, weirdly enough. Like, people were going after him saying, I saw some stupid people call him washed and stuff like that, which is absolutely ridiculous. But Patrick Mahomes counting stats and just visibly watching him quarterback,
it wasn't the same.
No. I thought he was arguably better than he's been the last 2 years.
Yes.
In the regular season, at least.
Yeah, I'm talking about like from the peak of it. No, he hasn't.
Yeah, not like that, but I'm talking like he made the Super Bowl the last 2 years, and he didn't play near as good a quarterback as he did this year.
I personally think this team was better than last year's team that went to the Super Bowl. As crazy as that sounds, they were 11-0 in one-score games last year. They're 1-6 this year.
Yeah,
the margin between the margin between this year's team and last year's team is razor thin. It's not like this is a way worse team. You go look at all the metric statistics; those are very similar teams. I think this year the offense was better. The defense might have slipped a little bit, but I just think this was a better team to me. They just didn't squeak out those victories and have, blocked field goals or last-second field goals or last-second touchdowns that they had last year. 11-0 in one-score games is one of the crazier stats in the history of the league. Like, that does not happen.
Yeah, but it is kind of funny. Listen, I think the Chiefs, as long as they have Patrick Mahomes, a healthy Patrick Mahomes, they can be in playoff contention.
They have a chance. Yeah.
But when we talk like Super Bowl, it's just I'm going to have to get proof of concept of a formula other than Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, Steve Spagnuolo. Like there's going to have to be new faces and an injection of life, an injection of youth like you're talking about. So I think it's over for now. Like, let's just put it that way. It is over for now.
Yeah.
All right. Last topic, kind of adding on to this. Obviously, the Chiefs are no longer – they are eliminated from playoff contention, which is just wild with the success that they've had over the years. It's wild they're no longer in it. Did y'all see Nick Wright say that whoever wins the Super Bowl this year should have an asterisk next to their name because how can you call yourself a real Super Bowl champion without going through the Kansas City
I wish
team?
you didn't tell me that, to be honest.
That's so dumb.
That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
But let's –
was he joking? Was it tongue-in-cheek, I hope?
You never know with Nick Wright.
Probably not.
I mean,
he's a Chiefs fan, so you take it with a grain of salt. But
you just never know if he's. You never know, like if you push him, I'm sure he could probably argue it into the ground.
You didn't have to fight through a 6-8 football team. Doesn't count.
Right. All right, but hey, listen. The AFC, the upper portion of the AFC is looking pretty solid. Like it's looking pretty set. Like we know who's going to be in there. But we got to look at that 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 area. Like what teams are coming out of the AFC? You've got the Chargers, the Buffalo Bills, the Texans, the Colts, Baltimore. They're all right there next to each other. What are your thoughts? Like, who's coming out of all this? Like, who's going to get out through the mush of all this?
Yeah, I think it's pretty set right now because, like, Kansas City and Indianapolis were kind of those fringe teams. They both lost this weekend. Obviously, Kansas City was eliminated. Indianapolis not eliminated, but with Phillip Rivers at the helm, like,
it ain't happening, right?
It's just
and the Texans are playing really good.
And the Texans have the best defense in football, no questions asked. The only thing that I think may switch is Baltimore and Pittsburgh.
Correct.
And I don't know how confident I am in that. 2 weeks ago, I thought it would I thought Baltimore would beat Pittsburgh. They would take control of the division, and then it would kind of snowball from there. But Pittsburgh won that game. They dominated Miami last night. But then Baltimore 24-0 against Cincinnati, and the defense looked good again. So I have no idea. Like the AFC North, I have no idea what's going to happen. I would much rather see Baltimore in the playoffs than Pittsburgh, just to be completely honest. Pittsburgh bores me. I'm tired of watching the same Steelers team for the last 10 years. At least the Ravens have Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, like, to make things interesting. But
right.
I don't think the winner of the AFC North makes any noise. And to be honest, with where I'm at right now, it's really hard for me to look at anyone in the AFC other than the Buffalo Bills and have extreme confidence in them, just because I love the Broncos. I love what they're doing. I don't know if I can trust Bo Nix in the playoff yet. I love Drake May. I love the Patriots. I love Mike Vrabel. Don't know if I can trust Drake May in the playoffs yet. I love the Texans. That offense leaves a lot to be desired. Chargers are a scrappy team, but
they can be a team you don't want to see.
Yeah, but nothing they do looks pretty.
Their offensive line is putrid.
So bad. It's the worst I've ever seen, I think, in my life.
Besides the Raiders might be the worst.
They're just bad too. But then with Buffalo, yeah, their defense isn't great. You know, they're missing some offensive linemen right now, but no one in the league is playing as good as Josh Allen, and he's peaking at the right time. I don't know. He's just ridiculous. Like watching him is such a joy. Like just to see the things that he does.
I gotta be honest. I think a lot of people are overthinking it by doing we haven't seen them perform. We haven't seen them make a run to a Super Bowl. Patriots are the most complete, best football team in the AFC to me.
I take the Patriots over the Broncos just because.
Like I don't see any glaring weaknesses, especially since they put Travion Henderson in there and gave him a bunch of touches. He's an explosive play waiting to happen in the run game, and they can create explosive games with explosives with Drake May's arm.
Yeah.
So and their defense is more than solid. They're good against the run. Christian Gonzalez, a really good young corner.
Gabe, to me, the one weakness is they don't have a go-to guy in the passing game, which I know you can say the same thing for Buffalo, but Josh Allen, Drake May is a little bit different.
Stephon Diggs is better than anything Buffalo has.
Yeah, I agree with that, but he's not a true number one, and Drake May can't do the things that Josh Allen can do. Drake May cannot put the entire team on the back the way that Josh Allen can when he gets into that mode. So I love the Patriots too.
Hey,
I love the Patriots too. I just can't. I'm not going to pick against the Bills.
Kenny, can you clip that?
I will.
Can you clip what
do you think
said about Drake May?
I understand that. So
I think Drake May's incredible. I'm not taking
no, but you said he can't put a team on the back like Josh Allen can. Listen, we don't have proof positive of that, but I just want to clip that for when we get into the playoffs. Let's watch Drake May. Let's see.
If it happens, then he can do it, but we've never had to see him do it. Like he's never just
okay. All right.
Josh Allen puts the entire city of Buffalo on his back.
Yes, he has to run it. He has to throw it. He has to do all that. I'm telling you though, let's.
I think Drake May is incredible. I think you're just looking too into what I'm saying.
I think Drake has the ability. I think
but
he has
he's never had to do it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he's incapable of doing it. We've never seen him have to do that. Josh Allen has to do everything. They had to have 5 straight touchdown drives to win that game.
Yeah, and they have 3 games where they have just like starting with game 1 this year against the Ravens where they have ridiculous comebacks.
Yeah,
all on the back of Josh Allen. I'll give you that. I just want to clip that for when Drake May throws for 300 in a fourth quarter and wins a ball game for the Patriots in the playoffs. But
Fun fact: never thrown for 300 yards in a game.
Okay, AFC North. God, that division sucks. It's usually one of the best.
So
I'm just amazed. I thought the Ravens would figure it out, but we really are going to have to be subject to the Steelers being in the damn playoffs. And I just want to throw out how annoying and disgraceful that is.
So bad. I'm so tired of
They are the oldest team in the National Football League.
Yeah,
and they have no business being in this situation at all. And the thing is, the Ravens. This is such a waste of a year. This is such a waste of a year.
You're talking Roman Cleary loves the Pittsburgh. He's the biggest Pittsburgh Steelers fan that I know. And he the only thing I know about the AFC is the Steelers will lose by 30 on Wild Card weekend. Mike Tomlin will get a 5-year extension and they'll replace Rodgers with Kirk Cousins.
What about Omar Khan? What about the GM? Is he going to get an extension, Roman? What do we think?
Listen,
we're putting together this old ass team.
I don't know if I should put Roma's business out there like that, but he's ready to get off Mike Tomlin tomorrow. Like I
think most Pittsburgh fans are. I think they're just tired of.
It's so funny in the past year. I was so like last year at the same time. I was so anti like Steelers. Oh, you spoiled brats. You've never had a losing season. You don't know what it's like. You know this guy always delivers. But then I sort of sit back and I look at it and I'm like, since Big Ben.
Yes.
Got done. They have run the most basic, milquetoast, disgusting offense you could ever see. And it's been multiple different coordinators.
Yeah.
And honestly, I came to this realization. Mike Tomlin wants it that way because of his defensive identity.
Yeah.
That's how he wants to play ball. But it's like, dude, it's 2025.
It's not working anymore.
Get somebody to sling the ball around the yard, for God's sakes.
I think going 8-8 year after year after year would be more demoralizing than having a year like the Cleveland Browns or the Tennessee Titans, where it's like there is zero your draft pick's not great. You're not. Does that make sense?
Like, you're stuck in purgatory.
It's purgatory. That's actually a good point. I'm a former St. Louis Rams fan. Okay.
Yeah, you know.
No, it was worse than that. It was
they were like 2 and 3 wins every year.
And 3. So I was gonna say it's much more miserable, but then you made the point. Yeah, the draft picks do matter.
Yeah, you never get to reset. You never get that excitement of, oh wow, we got a top pick.
The Rams went 2-14. I think the final year with Steve Spagnuolo. Then they went to Jeff Fisher, but because they were so bad, they got to draft Sam Bradford. So then they won 7 games the next year. So you get to see that fluctuation. And 7 wins after a 2-win season feels
awesome.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Then you're talking about Super Bowl next year. Like,
and you're like, year 2, oh my God, Sam Bradford's going to be he's going to be an first team all pro.
Never happened that way. All right, boys, this has been a long episode. I've had a long day, so I'm gonna cut us off here. I appreciate everybody for joining us this week. If you're watching on YouTube, you can like, subscribe, and comment there. If you're listening via podcast, whether that's Spotify, Apple, or any other platform, you can do the same there. Once again, we appreciate everyone for joining us this week, and we will see you back next week.
Thank you for listening to On the Bluff. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. Head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co for comprehensive coverage of Memphis sports and how you can become an insider.